Hey, you are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole. The mountains are blue. Farrell.
Bumps are just teeny tiny jumps.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
And thank you to the one and only Evil Knievel for that incredible introduction. Dude, we should all take a minute to live in the sun. We don't got to fly through the air, but let your mind fly through the air. Do what you love. Enjoy life. Have a good time. And how do we do that, Cole?
Well, the only way we're allowed to have a good time is through our first responders and our brave men and women and our armed forces fighting to keep the party going, fighting for our safety, for our freedoms, for all the justice that we have in this world. Looking right past Memorial Day, and just can't be more grateful.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Speaking of being grateful, we are so very grateful for our awesome partners, the Premix Podcast. Find him on Instagram, our man Cole, sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens, and also available to MC your off-road event or party. Find him on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the at symbol ThePremixPodcast.
Nailed it.
Also, yeah, thank you. Also, of course, where would we be without Kicker Audio? Kicker Performance Audio, just awesome. Check them out, kicker.com. I've been doing some work on my boat and been thoroughly enjoying my Kicker Marine audio system. They got it all, man. Boats, sandrails, side-by-sides, trucks, cars, mud buggies, rock crawlers, headphones, personal audio, earbuds, even waterproof Bluetooth earbuds. Check them out, kicker.com. Of course, Bomber Eyewear at bombereyewear.com. Man, I was sporting my Bombers over the weekend. We went out with some friends. My good friend right down the street was nice enough to take us out on his Nordic 28 for a most enjoyable day Sunday. My boats broke down, for those of you who give a shit. Temporarily. But yeah, sporting those Bombers all day. I had no eye strain, out in the direct sun all day, into the wind, dust, bugs. Only thing I can say is those safety lenses did their job and kept some of those bugs out of my eyes and splatted them everywhere. It's Bomber Eyewear, bombereyewear.com. Kelsey Morel Film. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morel Film for all your video production, video filming, shorts, longs, TV commercials, even editing work. Hit her up at Kelsey Morel Film on Instagram. So, man, holy cow. Now, what an emotional weekend last weekend. What an emotional show. Episode 39. We are now at episode 40. I can't believe it, dude. 40 episodes in less than a year.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where we wouldn't do an episode for quite a few weeks, and then we would cram a bunch together, but now we're on a good flow. Now we have some consistency going.
Yeah, and we have some guests lined up. I know I keep saying that. Part of it, honestly, has been my scheduling, but we do have some guests lined up, and I think we may try. I've got a couple of superstars coming up that I'm trying to get coordinated with. We had Kyle Peters on the hook, but now, of course, Kyle Peters is going to what do they call it?
World Supercross.
World Supercross. So congratulations, KP. I guess we'll wait till you get back. So I'm willing to wait, my buddy. Good
Maybe
luck
two
out there.
championships in 1 year. Maybe.
Dude, how sick would that be? The talent's there for sure. So some of the other ones we got coming, uh, hopefully soon. Plus, I have a verbal commitment from the Rev himself
Good.
to be on the show. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have him on the show also. And dude, yes, I was at right before Memorial Day weekend. I was at the Gallup Kicker Monster Truck Nationals, Gallup, New Mexico, Red Rock Arena, and I'm gonna go into all that. But Cole, man, dude, you were out at Glen Helen, or as we call it, Glen Helen.
Oh, Glen
Um,
Helen, the motherland, the promised land. Speaking of Glen Helen,
wow, look
boy,
at
we just
this.
got a guest.
No way.
There he is.
Hey,
Bro, the man that was on the ground behind the bars for the first time ever and along for the ride. Number 44X joins the show, Jake Young.
Hey, how's it going?
Jake, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for jumping
Yeah.
on short notice. Um, man, I kind of got the crew chief's rundown and some pictures of what happened at Glen Helen, but really I want you guys to relive it, and I'm just gonna jump in once in a while and be annoying. So take it away, Cole.
Yeah, I mean, so this is such a different race than what Jake's been doing. And he's no stranger to motocross, no stranger to Glen Helen. Obviously, he might not tell you this, but he already has a number one plate sitting at home from racing tracks. So today was, or the round was kind of a reunification with Jake and Glen Helen. So it was really exciting, especially seeing all the desert guys and their desert setups now going to go do battle in a totally different arena. How do you feel, Jake?
Yeah, definitely. I felt super comfortable going into the race. I don't really talk a lot before the race, or I don't try and hype myself up too much before the race, but I think at that race I kind of did a little bit. And you know, I I just kind of hyped myself up a little too much, got a little too jittery, and then after that start wasn't very good at all. And then basically just I think I got a little too excited with some wet dirt and just thought, oh, I have traction, and then just started to kind of trust the tires a little bit more than I should have. And after that first lap, and I laid it into that first corner, I just couldn't catch my breath back after that. And I'm sure you saw me kind of struggling, but I felt like I could have went a lot faster that whole race, a lot faster than I was going, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
what you call struggling, a lot of people would strive to go that fast, first and foremost. And I wouldn't just say that. I had witnesses there, your dad, my dad, everybody else there. So let me take it back just a little bit. So they let you guys do a sight lap, so at least you're not going out totally blind. You probably haven't ridden a track in, I don't know, 10 years, 5 years. How long do you think it's been?
No, yeah, I was 15 the last time I rode track, and I'm 23 now. And yeah, I know me and you were talking about it, but I was going to go out Saturday because they were going to have open practice, and then kind of in the middle of the week they sent that post out, or later in the week, saying that there was no more practice. So didn't end up riding Saturday, which I was kind of planning on, and then showed up to the race Sunday, and it was very apparent you weren't allowed to ride or anything before the race, and then you got your one sight lap. So and after that first sight lap, I got really excited. The sight lap was a lot of fun. I just wanted to keep riding, so I just hyped myself up, and then just yeah, man. I just yeah,
We've all been there.
yeah.
And it's so different from desert where obviously you're not supposed to pre-run the course, but the fact that you can go, you shake down the bike, you can go pick some trails, you can, as we've
Right.
done many times this year already, messed with the carb, mess with the tires. Basically, you got one sight lap that was what, maybe 6 minutes at a cruising pace, 7 minutes, and then it was
Yeah.
go time.
Yeah, and I definitely didn't push it on that sight lap. I wasn't hitting any of the jumps or anything. I just wanted to go see the course. But you only get one lap, and then what? How long did I have to wait? It was like an hour and a half until I
Yeah, it was
raced.
about an hour and a half between the end of your sight lap and by the time
Yeah.
you got down to the line.
Wow.
I don't know if you mentioned to Lauren too, but I switched out to that Electron carburetor, and man, world of difference. It's a completely different bike, and that was the first race back with that carb on there, and it took some getting used to the bike actually running the way that it should, not fighting it at a lower RPM and yeah. And I'm not trying to make any excuses or anything, but I just think I hyped myself up a little bit too much before that race. And I probably should have took a breath, slowed down a little bit on that first lap, and then got warmed up and then really kicked it on.
Well, and that was something I was going to ask because you were talking about all the desert guys, going to basically a track race. What obviously you said you changed the carb, but that seemed like probably a necessity. I'm guessing that had what is that, CVR or whatever it is, carb?
Yeah, I believe it's FCR carb.
FCR, yeah. Throwaway.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are rebuildable. I used to do a whole bunch of them for the local motorcycle shop because he didn't know how to do carburetors and didn't have the patience to do those FCRs. But no, besides that, what did you change tanks? What kind of any suspension changes, anything like that?
No, I'd say I don't honestly. I didn't really mess with suspension or changing anything major other than the carb. But I will say it's a 2009 WR250 that I've kind of manipulated into more of a racing bike than a trail bike. How they're originally sold. So they do come a little bit softer, on the suspension end. So it's not the best track bike, and definitely, the ratio of the bike isn't really set up for cornering or anything like that. But, I don't think it was necessarily the cornering that I was having trouble with. But, I didn't really mess with anything, but, there's definitely better bikes to ride track on than a 09 WR, they're kind of a big old couch,
Yeah. I feel you there. And just a side comment on the Electron. I've got a lot of years working with those and they functions. People don't understand the difference in the way they function. Just everything from throttle response to, if you will, I know it's a 4-stroke, but power band,
Oh yeah,
is completely changed when you go to a carb like that.
Yeah. And the other thing too that I did, well, I guess this kind of goes back to your last question as far as major changes. I don't know if this is a really major change, but when you buy the Electron kit, it comes with different cams for the new throttle. So I could have put a more relaxed like enduro style cam on there. So when you lay on the throttle, it's a little bit smoother, kind of a longer gradual step up. But I put the Electron version on, which is supposedly snappier. It's a quicker throttle response, and I definitely felt that's for sure.
You had that little coal on your shoulder whispering in your ear, put the hot rod one on, put the hot rod one on, put the big boy one on.
Yeah, it's the classic racer mentality. You're like, well, if it's faster, I'll put it on. And you don't the actual, how it's going to really feel or affect your riding. Because something small really, really mess with you on the bike.
Well, I mean, his brother used to have this hot rod TTR 125, And I mean, you could probably only turn the throttle, I don't know, what would you say, Jake? Maybe a quarter of the way, and that thing was pinned. It was like a light switch on or off. So the
Yeah.
fact that Jake put the hot rod cam on, I'm like, yeah, it runs in the family. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's that old Zed I had. When I redid it, I changed it over to super aggressive throttle cams and ran basically just slightly over half twist to full throttle.
Mhm.
And for people, I had a couple of friends that were experienced riders that rode it that were like, no, never again.
Really?
Really?
They didn't like it.
Yeah, no. Well, that thing was peaky. I mean, second gear at 7,000 RPM and pull the front tire off the ground.
No
Oh man.
thanks. So what was funny too, Lauren, is Jake was saying that because he went to a different throttle setup and everything. Obviously, he was at a track as well, but he said that he was experiencing a little bit of arm pump just because there was so much fluidity on the throttle that now all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's not hanging up at all, and it's
Yeah.
like,
I totally forgot about that. And that was the first thing I think I said to you when I got off the bike is I was like, dude, I couldn't hang on, and I'm pretty good about not death gripping the bike, and holding my legs and that whole nine. But, definitely was a huge difference going from the old throttle setup to where, it's been on the bike since 2009. So it's a little worn out. It's a little bit more like cruise control, you don't have to hang on as tight. You can kind of just set the throttle, and I mean, it would snap back, but it wasn't like, I mean, this thing, it's like a brand new YZ 250 right now. The thing just snaps back. And, when you, on the throttle side, it feels like you're holding onto an ice cube on the bar, cause it's so smooth. And, I'm just not used to that. So, I think getting a little bit more time on the bike with the new throttle setup, will definitely, I'll definitely get a little bit more comfortable and, help work on that arm pump problem that I was having at that race. But, yeah, I mean, it was my first GP, so I didn't know what to expect. Like, I mean, I've seen videos, but in my head, I was going to be half motocross track, and then they're going to send me down to Sandwash or something. And it's exactly what they did. But, I just, it was kind of like, it was brand new to me every corner, because I had to relearn how to ride a motocross track during the first half of the race. I haven't jumped a dirt bike on a motocross track since I was 15. So that was a cool new feeling.
yeah, welcome back, and you're doing battle with all the guys that you're in the points with. It's now you get to jump something kind of blind. And
yeah, exactly. And I work full time. I don't have a lot of time to ride. I got other things I have going on, in my life that I have to deal with. And these kids, a lot of them are a lot younger. So I see them on Instagram and Facebook, riding, oh, we're riding Kahia today. We're riding Paris. It's like, man, like, I wish I could, ride, 4 times a month, or every weekend. But, you just,
especially those guys that live out in El Centro and they go to school and then they go ride after school, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm paying bills and going to the grocery store, so have fun.
yeah, I'm at Albertsons at 8 o'clock at night, and they're out riding, the same night. But yeah, they don't even have to load their bikes in the truck. I don't think they just ride out of their driveway and and that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Oh well, at least if you need to take a positive spin, you live in a world-class fishing area, so I'll leave it at that.
I'll take it with that.
So walk us through how long was the race? 45 plus 2 or
What was it? I think it was 1 hour, right?
So it was 50 minutes for the leader.
Right. Yeah, 50 minutes for the leader, and I think I got in like 5 laps, right? I want to say it was
I
about
think
5.
you got in even more than that. I'll check while you're talking.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we'll have to check that one, but I want to say it was about an hour, and yeah, honestly, I think we did terrible. We ended up in third, I believe.
yeah.
But I just feel like I just got so stoked on wet dirt and Glen Helen. You know, it's like pulling in the gates that morning and seeing the Glen Helen sign, and your adrenaline starts pumping right away. As to where, you know, when I go out to the desert races, it's kind of more, you know, me and Cole just hang out in the morning, you know, at 6 a.m., you know, and kind of shoot the shit for a little bit. And then, you know, as soon as the sun comes up and you hear people start firing their bikes up, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're going, you know, it's kind of, it's not as, there's not that much adrenaline leading up to the race as being at Glen Helen. You know, you're at this like world famous racetrack, and you know you feel it. You feel the, what's it say out front? Feel the speed or something like that.
Feel the speed.
Yeah,
Glen Helen's motto. And
yeah,
I mean, Jake had a million things going on, and he might not even think about this like I would, but he did a sight lap, and the track was pretty nice and fresh and watered. Well, they ran the quads between his sight lap and his race. So now all the ruts that he had seen, all gone. All the moisture is completely pushed to the outside now. And so it went from normal Glen Helen sandiness to like hard pack on the inside with your braking bumps, and then pure death fluff on the outside. So, I mean,
that's
it was
right. That's right.
Same shape, but different course.
Too. Yeah. And you know, it's all coming back to me now, but the Aurora track, is that how you pronounce it, on the backside, like where they race REM?
Oh, I just thought it was the REM.
Oh, okay. That track on the backside, you know, when they send you down that big hill and then you got to really get on the brakes and it hangs a left back into the motocross track, that section right there was super dry coming down the hill. Top of the hill was nice and wet, but once you get down to the actual corner that you need to be on the brakes, it got really dry, and it got really slippery right there. And then it got sandy right after that in the corner. And then right after that, it was back into the jumps again. So, you know, just couldn't, you know, I didn't realize, or I guess I kind of forgot how little time there is to take breathers on a motocross track. You know, there isn't really. It's point A to point B really fast, and you know, there's nowhere to take a breath really.
No, and then they didn't even run you guys on the asphalt section, and like that's where I would make up my time, is because everybody else would be shaking out arm pump, and then I'd be like, okay, this is my only chance to make something happen. And you guys didn't even get that for a break.
No, and it's funny too because they run us through that like chicane before the finish, you know, to scan your helmet and or do the moto tally, and they're running me through the chicane, but that's the only spot that they make you slow down or you get any sort of, you know, free second. So I'm going through the chicane, holding on with one hand, trying to get my Camelback in my mouth. Which, remember, I was asking you in the morning, I'm like, should I even run that? You know, I don't know, because it's not like a desert race, you know.
And it was cloudy in the morning.
Yeah, in my head, it was a lot cooler in the day, and it's a lot shorter of a race than our typical, you know, 60 miles or 100-mile races. So, you know, and again, I just goes back to, it was my first GP, and I just wasn't fully aware of how much energy that was going to take. You know, I think I cut it a little short in my head.
Just a different, I mean, yeah, because you think you did 5 laps, you did 8 laps.
Oh,
so your total race time was 55:04. And what was cool about that, Lorin, is the first 3 guys did 8 laps, and then they shut the finish off behind him. So fourth place actually only got 7 laps.
Wow.
So he didn't know it, but his last lap was kind of a victory, you know, just had to bring it home. But when you're in the moment, you're still just battling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, do you ride that way? Like if they had a white flag and you knew where you were at, would you ease up on the last lap? Or
probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I pay attention as much as I can during the race to obviously to the flags and stuff like that. But you know, I pretty much just ride at about 90% the whole time. You know, I always want to leave a little bit just in case. But you know, I think even if I knew it was a victory lap, I probably would still stay on it a little bit. Just, you know, I don't know. It's just
you can never trust the scorers either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. And for me in that situation way back, and that wasn't on dirt, of course, but it's like if I tried to slow down, I started making dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
Like timing to get off, or you're braking, you know, your braking distance down to a corner. If you're cruising, compared to if you're 150%, you know.
Yeah.
I never had the brains to ride 90% and leave a little bit. So good on you. That's huge, because a lot of riders either ride over their head or ride timid. To be able to ride at 90% knowing that you've got a little bit left, and that's brilliant. I didn't have any talent. I was just dumb. So, you know, I rode at 150% all the time.
Right.
And it was either, you know, a good result or a horribly bad result. Um, and it was
So,
about,
so were you kind of a win or go home in the ambulance kind of guy, or?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why everything creaks now when you try to walk down the hall and hurts?
Yeah. Usually only in the morning till I get to the Tylenol, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no,
So,
it was definitely that way. It was like, you know, there to me, um, I was never, until I got into crew chiefing, I was never a focus on the championship racer. I was always a focus on the top of the podium racer, and that's all I
right.
cared about. And I didn't, back then I was very young, and I didn't care about really anybody or anything other than hitting that top. So I mean, I get pissed off if I was in second or third.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to your question on the, if I knew what place I was in on the white flag, you
Yeah.
know, it's all about just, for me, trying to stay consistent. And how you're saying, when you start to slow down or get inconsistent, that's when you start to make mistakes. And
Yep.
that's when you lay it over, and that's when you make the dumb mistakes, when you don't stay in your consistent pace, or because you'll get in that zone, that race zone where you're just seeing tunnel vision to the finish line, and like as soon as you snap out of that, you're screwed.
Yeah.
It's and anything could happen even on a victory lap. If I had in that motocross series, I laid it over, and I had those old school hand guards where the tab was aluminum, and it bent down and pulled the clutch lever in halfway. So I had to ride the bike to the finish line, slipping the clutch the whole time. And that was terrible. It's like, that could happen, I mean, that, nowadays, like, we got the plastic ones, you don't really have that style of an issue, but anything could happen, So,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
So on a race that long as a crew chief, Cole, um, what's what's your sweet nothings? Two, what's your prep to get ready to go that long?
So there's what I would have done, and then there's what happened. So
Okay.
no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. I want to hear them both.
So with a Grand Prix, I mean, especially Jake being in points, like, you never want to give up, obviously, if there's an issue or whatever. But the reality is, it still is a long motocross race. So, like, if you get a flat or something, like, you either got to be man time and then just handle it, or you can try to bring it in the pits and we can zip tie the tire together. But I mean, there's really not that much time, right? And so we knew that the bike, especially with the Electron carb, was really sipping fuel. So we knew that the desert tank would have no problem with 50 minutes. But I personally got lucky that my dad rolled out with me. And so what was it, Jake? We were out of the truck maybe 10 seconds, and he's like, "What's up, Jake?" And then he goes straight to the bike, and he's adjusting the clutch and looking at everything. And
he barely got through the hey hug, like, "What's up, man?" And I, as soon as I gave him a hug, he just, like, it was almost like race mode clicked on for him. And like, after that, he just didn't even really, like, look at me. He just went straight to the bike and just went straight into race mode. That was hilarious. I remember I kind of jokingly said something to you, like, "Dude, like, your dad just clicked in the race mode right there," or something.
oh, it was just instant. And he's looking at the new Electron and making sure that all the lines run right, which of course Jake did, and checking out the new throttle and everything. I mean, he was just like, so it was almost like I'm 30 now, 2 years old, and it was just back to hold the flashlight for me kind of deal, so it's like, you want to talk about like bike chief and all this stuff. It's like, no, dude, like, you're way, 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 way more knowledgeable like, I'll gladly take a back seat because it's only to Jake's benefit, you know? So,
Sure.
I mean, even after his practice, he was like, hey, get the screwdriver. Let's get this mud off. You know, I need a bad rag. And I at least got to load Jake's tear offs, which that was nice. But yeah, I think team wise, we got really lucky. Jake's dad came out and my dad was out there. So it was like, there's just so much collective knowledge that Jake just got to do his thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't know how some of these guys do these races without a team like, what we have and the support that we have. Cause, like what was that one guy's name that rolled out to that desert race next to us? And me and you both look over at him like, who's pitting for you? And he's like, no one. We're
I'm
like,
by myself.
what are you doing? It's like, and the pit and the team is everything, that's what makes or breaks, that is racing, really.
Well, and it's having competent people in your corner as a rider gives you that extra, like that's one thing you don't have to worry about, right?
Right. Yeah, and then even with the Cole's racing experience too, is he already knows what I'm thinking before I say anything. When I pull in, he can just read it. He can read the room on the bike. So
yeah, and the one thing I got to sympathize with you on is like, dude, I wouldn't have done anything different. You're ready to go down to the line, and my dad was like holding you, like, nope, wait, you're just gonna sit there. And I'm like, dude, in the rate for me, I'm like, yeah, but I need to be down there on the line. Like everybody else is down there. I'll be damned if I'm the late guy,
Right. Yeah. And I remember, we were talking about, getting a good starting position and everything like that, and we saw that someone was making fun of how many people didn't show up to that race, but I feel like there was quite a few people there for District 38 Grand Prix. I feel like there's a lot, but I ended up getting the starting position that I wanted. I didn't get the start that I wanted, but got in the right spot that I wanted. That's for sure. But yeah, yes, that's right. Mikey was holding me back. I wanted to go down there like 15, 20 minutes early, and he's like, nope. You're going to stand in the shade and the fan and hang out. But it's good to have someone, check you like that. Otherwise I would have been sitting down there in the sun for 20 minutes, so.
Oh, I would have been too. So yeah, you're preaching to the choir on that one.
Yeah.
You guys need an umbrella girl.
That's me.
Yeah. Have you seen the photos? You got to show Lorin the photos.
You need someone besides Cole as an umbrella girl.
Damn fired. Right. Damn.
He doesn't look good in yoga pants.
That's true. That's true. Talking about the team, it's all got to look good too. It just can't function good.
Right.
But speaking of consistency, Lorin, yeah, let me read off some of these lap times for you. 6:38, 6:36, 6:35, 6:39, 6:40, 6:41.
Yeah.
How's that for consistent?
That's impressive. Wow. And you were talking about consistency, Jake, and man, a couple of your desert races, Cole keeps me pretty updated. I don't know if you know how updated he keeps me, but pretty updated.
Oh yeah.
After each pit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want to know your pit times. I want to know how that's going. I want to know how your lap times are, how you're doing, stuff like. I mean, I'm emotionally and mentally vested in your program, even though I physically can't be there.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's huge.
But some of your desert stuff, dude, on those big laps, consistency within tenths of seconds on what was that one where it was like 29-minute laps or something, 3 of them.
Yeah, there was one that was 4:25 mile laps. Yep.
And your times 4 laps was like 0.8 of a second variance between all 4 laps. I mean, dude, that's insanely good.
Yeah, I kind of just click into that, and I can feel it when I'm riding, that it's typically on those long desert races, it takes at least probably half of the first lap or something, but you get into that zone where you just start seeing tunnel vision and then nothing else you don't see anything else. I never look back. I don't turn around or look back. If I hear someone on me, I don't get sketchy and look at them, because that's when I've made mistakes in the past and ate it. My dad always told me never look back. Even if you
Mhm.
can hear them right there on you. But yeah, just staying consistency. It keeps your breath, your breathing right, and you get locked in those modes, and then you can get those lap times that are within a minute of each other, or even closer. I'm not sure. Did I get that close in tenths of a second or something like that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
especially on the big loop stuff. I mean, you're within one, maybe a minute and a half at the slowest. So it's easy for us, like Jess and I, when we're in the pits, because it's like you're reliable. So we know roughly when you're coming in and when to be ready.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
it
think
sounds kind of corny, and I don't know if I'm giving away my bag of tricks here, but I actually think about the riders that I want to ride like in my head while I'm riding. Like on a couple of those desert races before, like the days leading up to the race, I was watching all those Toby Price videos, and it's I kind of watch his riding style, and then in my head I'm just like, ride like that guy, and then I physically like picture it in my head while I'm riding, and I'm not, this isn't like a side daydream while I'm riding, but kind of like in the front of my head, or maybe even in the back. I don't know how to explain it. I just think like the person I want to ride like.
I would
Yeah,
say you're concentrated on the fundamentals and good
exactly.
technique.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
well, and one thing that you notice about guys like Price and Brabeck, um, they have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
You
just
know,
loving
they
it.
yeah, they enjoy it, and that's
Yeah.
and that's a big part of it. I always, even when I was doing some of the quad racing stuff, um, it was, hey, I saw that look.
Sorry.
I got one for you. This one. Um, Now, even when I was doing some of that, uh, you know, I guess it'd be GP or similar to GP that was called GP, that
Right.
kind of stuff. Um, you get in that, like you said, you get in that tunnel and you're just like totally zenned out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And and Cole can kind of speak on this one, but going back to they have fun with it, and you should have fun with it. It's the whole reason we're out there. Is I think for some race teams, they might think that I don't take it serious at all because of how much I joke around in the pits and stuff. I don't goof off, but I definitely keep a good vibe. I don't ever get serious. I don't come in and throw helmets around and kind of ice the room out. Like, we kind of keep everything, you know, on a higher level, because we're just out there having fun, really.
Yeah, and you have a great support team, and I know when Cole rode, Cole always when he was racing, always, even like I would talk to him or message him after a race, and he'd have a good attitude no matter how he did. Always
Yeah.
better with the W. Um,
Right. Right.
you know,
I mean,
but
going back to what Jake said, it's like he works Monday to Friday, if not Monday to Sunday. So it's a fun time to be out there. So it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to justify crying over a plastic trophy when these other kids are having no fun at all, but they might be getting fantastic results.
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And I think our whole group too, like, you know, you, me, and my brother Jess, we tend to be on the happier side always, even when things aren't going our way, or, like even when I came in on that at that GP, I in the moment I didn't feel like I had a good race. I wasn't really happy with the race at all. But as soon as I got off the bike and cooled off, like we were all just smiling again. Like they, I
yeah.
just like to keep it that way, keep it fun, keep it interesting.
Yeah, and Lauren, he had two pretty good spills, and
I was,
and one I got to see in live action.
I was,
Yeah, I'm happy you got pictures of that, by the way.
I was just gonna say, all this being said, I think there's an elephant in the room we need to address, and that's how much dirt did you have to clean out the screens and cheek pads of your helmet? because I
Dude.
saw you had a couple of diggers.
Oh, dude, that the first one, the first one did scrape my chin up a little bit, and it pulled my helmet up my face. Ripped my goggles into the center of my eyes. But I
Oh,
kind of just pulled my face mask back down, and Cole has all the pictures. I just like adrenaline's going, ripped up, and just didn't even take a breath. Which I think in the future, if that ever happens again, I think I'll take another second to take a breath because it'll actually save me a lot longer, a lot more time in the long run if I just relax, regain my vision and everything. Because the second time I crashed, I really wadded. Like I think the bike did a cartwheel. I went flying off the side. I broke my visor, lost the handguard, just full yard sailed. And that time my helmet went up again. Dirt slid up into my goggles and was bouncing around in my goggles. And then my hair actually dropped down into the top of my goggles. So I was getting hit from the bottom and the top, And, I talked to Cole about this and my brother. I don't like to make a lot of excuses, but I couldn't see those middle 3 laps. I couldn't see a damn thing. There was dirt in my eyes, hair in my eyes. I don't know if Cole ever saw, but I kept wrenching my helmet up and down on my face trying to get my hair out of there. But I just a little bit of a rookie move. I should have just took a second, maybe even taken my goggles off, shook them out, put them back on, and just got after it again. But just kind of a little bit of a rookie move there. Jumped up, didn't take a breath, and just tried to go as fast as I could. And
Just hard.
but,
You're in the moment and in the chase, right? So
yeah, exactly. Going back, what do they say? Looking back on it, you can make all the right decisions in the world, but in the
hindsight's
moment,
2020.
exactly.
Yeah,
all
That's
that.
what I was
yeah.
going for. Yeah.
And so Jake, you've been gracious with your time, so I'll try to get it wrapped up here. But
Yeah.
for those watching, I can see your beautiful bike in the background. And Lorin, those as of today or yesterday are brand new handguards and a brand new
Wow.
front fender.
Look
So
at
he's
that.
already got the thing put back together.
Nice.
So
Nice.
the point of this story is like I feel so bad for him at the time, but I definitely feel better that the bike's put together now. But after his first crash, it was like the right bark buster's blown off, his visor's cracked, guy's hurting. Well, then he crashed again. So then by the time we see him come back around, it's like front number plate's falling off, the left handguard's missing, the right handguard's like it's like chitty chitty bang bang every time it's coming around. Just things are falling off. Now it looks good. It looks good now, but yeah, I felt bad for him at the time.
It looks like a complete bike again. That's for sure.
Well, and to, kind of complete that whole sequence, by the way, I also have all the pictures. But to complete that full circle, even with taking a couple of gnarly get-offs, you still landed on the podium.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to pull that off is, that's Kyle Peters championship type stuff.
Yeah. Just trying to stay consistent, my dad always said, just finish no matter what, and
Yep.
that's my mentality.
Keep turning the twisty thing and kicking the little round thing down by your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and just real quick before we let you get out of here, when you talk about taking that minute, I think if that happens again and you're conscious enough to take what probably will feel like a minute that is 8 to 12 seconds, once you start that practice, when things don't go your way, it becomes an automatic response. And I see that all the time. And something I'm always commenting on with Kyle Peters in the arena cross circuit is I've seen him hit the ground 4 weekends in a row. He hit the ground 4 times in main events and 1 main events because he gets up and he collects himself, bam, like that. He doesn't get those, like if you go down, I slid out one time and was able to save it and get up on the bike, but then the jitters were so bad. I blew a breaking point and almost I ended up off in the grass in the next corner. And it's
Oh,
like, you're going at that point, you might as well have just laid on the ground because you just lost 5, 6 more spots. And it's like, well, that was dumb.
yeah. Yeah. And you do they say you learn something every time you crash, and I learned two things that day. So, that's the kind of the way I'm looking at it.
There you go, for
Yeah.
sure. So I know you got work to do, and you got 9 to 5, and um, don't let our boy Cole undersell himself. Um, and I have much respect for Mike, Mr. Mike Farrell. What up, brother? Much respect for him and his abilities, but you got to remember one thing: Cole learned from him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got some pretty good pistols in your holster there, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super grateful for it every day. So,
Well, and I'm grateful for you too, Jake, for actually still racing. And I know that sounds stupid, but it's like I think about all the friends we have in high school that rode and raced with, and now all that stuff's kind of dwindling as kids and houses and families and all this lame stuff starts coming up. So thank you for still taking me to the races.
oh, yeah. Oh, we're not stopping anytime soon. So,
That's what I like to hear.
Love it.
I think that's a perfect way to end, Jakey.
all righty. Thanks, guys.
Dude, thank you.
Jake, thank you. Appreciate it so much.
Absolutely stoked to be on. Thank you so much.
We'll have
Yeah,
you
dude.
on again after the end of the season.
All right. Sounds good. I can't wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the show, Jake Young. What a sport. A little behind the scenes, Lauren, you're like, just get him on. I'm like, no, he's busy. He's literally working on the bike right now. You said, just throw him an invite. And so, Jake, thanks for being a good sport and coming on. But man, yeah, what a fun weekend that was at Glen Helen. And I wasn't certainly going to stick a knife in the wound or put some salt in the wound. But man, that one crash that I got to see that was on camera, it was, there was people watching that went, ooh. So it was like a uphill tabletop to a little double to another little single. And then after that was a big right sweeper. And he's just doing Mach 5. And he's just going through the corner. And all of a sudden the front end just steps out. And so he's just along for the ride at that point. And it's like so hard because it's my buddies sliding on the ground, but he's also my rider. But I also have a camera in my hand and like, I'm not ready to let that go. So yeah, dude, it was nuts. I mean, he rung his bell good and broke that visor, and then yeah, it comes back around a few laps later, and more parts are coming off the bike, and it's just like, dude, like you're riding so fast, and it's just hard to see this thing falling apart. But he still beat third or fourth. Technically, was up by a lap and was down about 2 minutes off first, so he was just in no man's land. But never hurts to be on the box.
No, not at all. And kudos to all of you because giving him the comfort and the confidence to ride the bike through that, he had to know everything was right.
Yep.
You don't lay it down, get back up and go back at it and stay consistent if you don't have confidence in your people. And kudos to him for having the confidence in you guys, but kudos to you guys. And you so often undersell yourself, but kudos to you as a bike chief for giving him that confidence.
It was nice to be able to just be the guy that had done it most recently at that track. So I can at least be like, okay, signups are here, starts here, this turn sucks. Like I at least felt value in myself in the fact that I'm like, okay, I wish that the first time I went to an SRA as an adult, I had that guy to be like, don't worry, this is what you do. And so since I didn't have that, I hopefully was able to help a little bit about that. So, but either way,
I am super stoked that Jake jumped on And man, I know he's busy and everything. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate like his blatant honesty, um, and openness. Uh, but then on top of it, humbleness, like, I mean, there's no denying it wasn't, he stood right up and said, hey, it wasn't the bike,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and having been involved in some sort of professional racing for longer than you are old and he is old combined almost, um, that's rare from a racer, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
and it's even surprising to hear him even say, he's like, yeah, I'm 23 now. And it's like, dude, it's just, you're just so mature.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. So, man, Jake, thank you so much. Cole, thank you so much. Um, wow, what an adventure.
Yep.
So glad you guys jumped on, took us along for the ride to Glen Helen D38 Grand Prix 2023.
So no pressure, but I'm going to throw a little pressure out there. A little long for the ride exclusive, but SRA is doing a 2 hour night race on the 24th, I think it is, whatever the Saturday is. And I think there's going to be a headlight going back on that bike. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah, that'd be rad.
Yeah. So
I
it'll be
support that.
same track, 2 hours at night. It's like, dude, talk about a summer party at the racetrack.
Heck yeah, that sounds like a good old time.
So we'll
Good
see.
old
Things
time.
things are looking up. So no pressure,
Awesome.
Jake, but you got me excited. So don't let me down.
That's rad. Speaking of looking up, we had some monster trucks looking up out there in Gallup, New Mexico. We're going to shift gears on you and go to the Kicker Monster Truck Nationals, Gallup, New Mexico, for a quick recap. Um, 2 shows, one day. Setup day was rained out. Had a jumped in, took you all along for a ride with me in the last episode on some of the events that happened. And if you haven't tuned in to episode 39, please do find out what we went through getting there. It was quite the ordeal. Wasn't challenging or anything, but I'll leave it up to you to find your way there and listen to it. Um, man, got over to the track, got ready to get everything out of the trailer, got it all ready to start setup. And on Friday, and started setup, and it started raining.
No way.
Yeah, so I put everything away. Fortunately, there was an office that Todd and the Cycle City Promotions crew was using, who runs the Kicker Monster Truck Nationals. So I was able to put everything in there for the night, what I thought was going to be for a couple hours, um, until it just started pouring. And I looked at the hourly forecast, and it didn't show any relief till about 8 o'clock at night, with a sunset of about 8:01 at night. So pretty much stuck a fork in it for setup. That being said, that adds a whole new degree of difficulty, because then you have to go in at least an hour earlier. We had a 11 a.m. gates open for the first show for the matinee. And so I had to go down to Glenn's Donuts on Route 66, 9th Street and Route 66 in beautiful Gallup, New Mexico. Glenn's is a great place, nice people. Got donuts for the team, got in there and was starting setup at about 8:15 in the morning. Had a full 20-foot setup done before 11. Gates open, party was on. We probably had, I would guess, somewhere around 3,000, 3,500. The venue seats 5,500.
So pretty full.
Yeah, probably 75% ish, for an afternoon show. It was a good time, great show. The monster trucks were doing their thing. They brought up some of the mud boggers, which listen to episode 1 for my opinion on that. Mud bog during a motorcycle race. But they brought some of them out to basically do an exhibition sand drag. And so they set up a sand drag course right through the middle of the monster truck course. Yeah, and so they were only running, it wasn't a full 300 feet. They were only running, I think, about 120 feet.
Okay.
Um, but they were turning at, the fast guys were turning at high twos.
Isn't that funny to say though?
Yeah, right. Like 2.0 2.98, 2.96 for 120 feet in sand. And you just did that race where what was the outlaw world record? Three something?
3.30 something. Yeah.
Yeah. And a side by side, people, in 300 feet.
Now you're 150 feet.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they were running like 1 second to the 100 foot, right? These guys were running like 3 seconds to the 120 foot. So they're a lot heavier, granted, but and there's nothing, it doesn't matter. There's nothing like the smell of way overfueled, partially burnt nitro. Um, it's like cotton candy for your nose.
Yeah, and filling that Gallup arena must have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and that Red Rock Arena, is just a natural amphitheater. So the monster trucks, dude, the echo in there, and it was a great show. Um, then they wrap the show up. It was a good time. I actually got the Kicker Performance Audio Razor out,
I
and
saw those photos.
yeah, I actually did a couple of test runs for their tough truck track. They only ended up having 4 tough trucks, and 3 of them broke on their first go around. So it was I will be the first one to tell you it wasn't because the track was too tough.
Didn't sound like the trucks are very tough.
No, no, and I think some of it was I know for a fact one of them was a mud bog truck, and I don't know that. I would guess by the damage that maybe mud boggers don't know to lift when the tires are in the air. So yeah, there was some broken drive shafts, like literally on the set of the bumpity whoops, where the front end's up in the air and then the back end's up in the air. Um, 2 broken drive shafts in like 40 feet, 20 feet probably, length of the vehicle.
Oof. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm sure being mud boggers they might not be using the thickest wall steel in those cages either.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So, anyways, is what it is. It was a great show. We had a lot of fun. Wrap the show down. Security cleared everybody out. We had 2 hours to reset, and gates reopened at 5, and we did a second show to a sold out crowd, packed house,
Sick.
um, all the way into the night. Insane crowd, engaged, having fun. Um, Holy cow, the monster trucks went big for the night show. Uh, there was a couple of them even, ended up like running up the rock wall at the end a little bit
Yes.
because like they were just one of them ended up on his roof in a first race of the night show. He come around the corner too hot and it was like so um and the guys ran the sand drag guys ran a little bit faster that night. Um, Maybe better air, I don't know.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, man, great show, great crowd. Todd always does such a great job of putting that stuff on, and it's great to see Todd and Adam, his son that helps him do all this stuff, and is I probably partners with him. Um, it was great to see Adam out there. I miss seeing those guys since they've sold off the arena cross. Um, but I look forward to seeing them on some more monster trucks this year and some enduro cross this year, hopefully. So,
Sweet.
yeah, and we'll cover some of that as we get into some more episodes. But yeah, all in all, a great night, except for the fact that just as they finished, it started raining and then it started pouring, and I had to do my full pack up in the pouring down rain.
Oh, that does
Um,
suck.
and everything had to be hand trucked down. I couldn't get the trailer back up to load it. So everything had to be literally hand trucked down to the lower level, which means going down and then going down the ziggy zaggy handicap ramp and across the parking lot to my trailer. But we got her loaded. Unfortunately, it adds, half a day when you get home because you have to take everything out and air it out and all that. But
Oh
it is
yeah,
what it
soggy
is.
socks and all that. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's funny. Think about the fans that left and they go, "Wow, we just got really lucky that rain started right on time." But then for you and all the track crew that's to tear it down, you're like, "Oh no, this is
Yeah.
horrible."
Yeah. Matter of fact, the track crew actually got out before I did because that dirt will get slimy. It's kind of clay, if you will, sandy
Hmm.
clayy. And they were gone like 5 minutes before 10 minutes before I hooked my trailer up
Oh wow,
to
they're really
leave.
hauling ass.
Well, it just got too wet too fast, and it all runs down the rocks into that bowl.
Yep.
So you go from, if it starts pouring, you go from zero water to an inch plus of water sitting on the clay, and you can't run equipment out there.
No.
It just sinks. So I did get a little bit of playtime out there also. Uh, when was that? I guess that was Thursday afternoon, late afternoon. No, it must have been Friday after it started raining. Um, got a little bit of playtime. They got a little riding area out there off to one side, and I got the razor out. Got to take a couple of the monster truck guys for Burns and the Kicker Audio Razor crank
Dude, that's
tunes up,
awesome.
living loud, did some drifting and slung some mud. Sucked because I had to clean it before I could put it on display on the show floor, but it was awesome and it was something some of those guys had never experienced. So
Yeah, that's way
um,
cool. I mean, you drag that car around so many places, so it's nice to get to drive it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, and then it's party bonus in Gallup for the trip home because I get up and get on the road, like 7 a.m., 24 miles down the road. It's
Time
six
travel.
twenty, yeah, 6:20 in the morning. So you get an extra hour. Um, and I think once again, I probably ran hour and 20 minutes on cruise control without touching the brake. So
That's
you know,
nice.
yeah, it definitely makes it nice. Uh, dude, smooth ride home. Got home, no worries, no problems. Got her parked, got everything out and dried off. Uh, and then on and here we are. So was grateful for all the people that listened and commented on sent me personal comments on our Memorial Day episode. Thank you. Um, some of my family, I wish you'd listen to it. Uh, you know, but we'll get there. Um, yeah, other than that, dude, what else you got?
Man, just this night race. I hope it happens. And even if it doesn't happen, I might just drive out there anyway and hang out because it's a good time.
Yeah, I hope it happens too. I want to comment on how much I like your Mad Dog Media Marketing shirt.
Thank you. Can't even buy them.
No, you cannot.
Very
They
rare.
are very rare. Also, that Team Green Kawasaki hat
And matching koozie, which you
and
can't see on
matching
camera. There
koozie.
it is. Hey, hey.
You know what that makes me think of? Makes me want to give a shout out to our good friend of the show, Mr. Jim Beaver.
I know. I was just thinking about him today.
Yeah,
I was putting this hat on and I was like, man, wonder how he's doing.
he's doing good. I'm hoping to catch up with him. I think I'm going to be off for about a month. So,
Coolio.
yeah, I've got a lot of projects around here to do and
And a boat to
some
fix.
some other stuff to do on the boat. Yep, yep. So I'm relocating batteries, in process of that now. And shout out to my boys at and girl at Elite Audio Havasu, helped me out. I ran short of the uh, Kicker Marine Coast Guard approved marine grade oxygen free copper 4 gauge power wire. And I obviously it's a boat. I'm relocating the batteries. I want to use all Coast Guard approved marine quality stuff. Kicker makes the best on the market without a doubt. And Elite Audio Havasu stocks it and was gracious enough to hook me up with what I needed to get the relocate completed tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So I'm pretty stoked about that. And yeah, man. Other than that, we got some hot stuff coming up. Um, I may try and make a run down to Parker this weekend and catch the Run What You Brung jet ski race. My super solid dude from Bomber Eyewear, Jason, will be down there. The bearded bomber himself will be down there racing.
Oh, nice.
And I want to get a look at his van, see if I can, give him some ideas on how to. He's driving the bomber van now, Tommy's van. So keep an eye out for that.
Oh, I know where it's parked.
Yeah. So, yeah, other than that, man, decided to have a little time off, get a little work done on the boat. Hopefully next week, get a little playtime on the boat. And if things hold the way they're going, we will have a guest next week,
Sweet.
or two. So, looking forward to that. Cole, closing statements.
You know what? This pissed me off. I had one and then I remembered it and now I can't remember it. So let me just pull something out of the air. Closing statements. Support jet ski racing because it's awesome and there's not a lot of it out there. So if you're local, go.
Yeah, definitely go out and check it out, for sure, 100%. I don't see why not. Yeah, double fist bump emojis. So, yeah, other than that, please, 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 people, go take a look at our partners. That would be Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com. Bomber Eyewear, the floating eyewear, Bomber floating eyewear, Bomber safety eyewear. They got you covered, whatever style, whatever color, whatever lens you need. They even do prescription. I have 2 pairs or 3 pairs of prescriptions. Love them to death. Go check them out. BomberEyewear.com. Kelsey Morrell Film, handling all our video stuff, getting it on YouTube and now on new YouTube podcasts. Look her up on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film. You need anything done from commercials produced, made to shorts edited, or anything in between, video, audio, she's got you covered. And of course, desert racing shared through the lens, the passion of Cole, the desert rat feral. Find him on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. Drop him a message. Don't send him gnarly pics because he will block you. But do drop him a message. Ask him to get shots of your race truck, race car, race buggy, class 11, whatever, bike. He's got you. And if you need MC work for your off-road event, or just a party, the man is a walking party.
Just hit me up to party.
Yeah. Or you just want to party with someone cool, hit him up at the Premix Podcast on Instagram. With that, I think episode 40 is a success.
In the books with a surprise guest and everything.
We're going to call that the Big 40. 40. Mad Dog out.